If you're searching for real hair growth tips, not hair serums, not miracle oils, not scalp sprays, but real hair growth tips, then this is the video you need to watch. My name is Djanie and I am an advanced hair, scalp and skin practitioner. And today I'm bringing you a video that will tell you what trichologists want you to eat for healthy hair growth and to stop hair loss. Because most people who are trying to grow healthy long hair are focusing on the wrong thing. If you're dealing with hair thinning, or you are on a hair growth journey, but it's not working, you're not seeing any real growth, you might be starving your hair follicles without realizing it. And today I am going to show you what trichologists want you to eat for real hair growth. These are not TikTok hacks, these are not trends, these are clinical foundations that I'm bringing to you for you to understand what you need to do for your hair to retain length, for you to be happy with and feel like you're progressing on your journey. In a lot of my consultations, someone will sit down and say, I just want my hair to grow. Or they say to me, it grows, but it never gets long. And they expect me to recommend some hair loss treatment, a growth oil, a serum, a supplement stack, like a huge stack of supplements for them to go home and take and start supplementing their diet. But one of the things that we assess in clinic is not their products, it's actually their diet first. So my witness that I say that healthy hair starts from the scalp. Now that is healthy hair management. I am talking about the actual healthy hair growth, where it actually is implanted in the body, where the system starts, where this all begins. And now I am bringing you the absolute truth. Hair growth does not start from the scalp. It starts in your bloodstream. Your hair is built from within. It comes from within your system. This is not my opinion. This is physiology. This is what we study in trichology. In fact, we go into trichology to learn about what helps the hair and scalp. And then we find that majority of the things that we are studying is actually about the system, the physiology of the body. I'm going to discuss the foundations of hair growth. Now, if you care about hair growth and it's important to you, protein is non-negotiable. Hair is made of keratin, and keratin is the structural protein. Protein provides amino acids. Amino acids builds hair. This is the chain of chemistry. Now, if your protein intake is low, your body will prioritize your survival organs, such as your heart, your lungs, and so on. Your hair becomes optional. This is why crash dieting, extreme caloric restrictions, poorly planned vegetarian diet and vegan diets, this is the reason why they often trigger chronic hair loss conditions. Now, if you're struggling with hair thinning or slow hair growth, you need to ask yourself this question: are you eating protein at every meal? Now, this is what trichologists want you to eat for healthy hair growth. We want you to eat eggs, oily fish, Greek yogurt, lentils, lean meats, and for the vegetarians and vegans out there, tofu. And we expect your protein to be distributed across the day. So all the meals that you have should show a balanced protein intake. And if you're having a huge, heavy protein-filled dinner at night, it does not fix the underfilled morning and afternoon lack of protein. And if you want to stop hair loss and support hair growth, protein is your number one step. That's your step one. Then I'm going to come on to iron and ferritin. These are the hidden cause of hair loss. One of the most common causes of persistent hair shedding is low ferritin. Ferritin is your iron store. Now, you may have your blood tests and it will say that your iron levels are normal and still have low ferritin. because low ferritin reduces oxygen delivery to the hair follicle. Our hair follicles are metabolically active tissues. This means that they require oxygen to stay in the growth phase. We are looking at the active growth phase of the hair, and the hair follicles, because they are metabolically active, they require oxygen to stay in that phase. We want the hair to be growing, so we want it to stay in the active growth phase, which is the anagen phase. Low ferritin is frequently associated with telogen effluvium, which is the diffused hair loss that lasts for months. It's diffused shedding, it's not patchy shedding, but it lasts for months. If your hair growth is stalled, if you're shedding excessively, if your density is reduced, this is one of the blood tests the trichologists recommend you have. If you want to boost those levels of your blood tests, foods that support iron levels are red meats in moderation, spinach, dark leafy greens, lentils, even pumpkin seeds. And you must always pair your plant-based iron with vitamin C. This is great for absorption. But if your ferritin levels are clinically low, food alone will not be enough. Then the conversation becomes medical. What I need you to understand is that hair growth cannot thrive in iron depletion. And we have not even started speaking about hormones yet. Because if your hormones are off, your hair growth will be too. Which brings me nicely onto the next topic, which is healthy fats and hormones. Hormones regulate hair growth, and hormones are built from fats. Extremely low fat diets can disrupt endocrine balance. When your hormones shifts, your hair shifts. And you'll see things like androgen sensitivity, thinning, texture change, shedding. If you're trying to grow long, healthy hair while eating low-fat foods, you may be working against your own biology. I recommend to my patients these healthy fats food for hair growth, such as oily fish, walnuts, olive oil, avocado, seeds, things like that. Food sources that are going to give you those beautiful fats for your body and to extend on to give you lovely, luscious hair. I am not talking about processed trans fats or fast food that cause inflammation in the body. Balanced anti-inflammatory fats support hormonal signaling, and that helps your scalp health. Hair growth is hormonal, and you can't out-supplement hormonal imbalance. The next thing I want to talk about is zinc and trace minerals. Now, zinc does not get enough attention in social media, but in my clinic and in most trichologists' clinic, zinc matters. Trace minerals are required in small amounts, but they are vital for protein synthesis, cell division, tissue repair. Zinc deficiency can contribute to hair shedding, poor hair quality, slow hair regrowth. And the foods that are good for hair growth, which is rich in zinc, are oysters, pumpkin seeds, chickpeas, cashews. Again, the food must be first. We only supplement after you have been tested. If you haven't been tested, if you've not had a blood test, there is no reason we should be supplementing, because we do have rates of toxicity that can occur from people who supplement unnecessarily. So food first and supplementation only after you've been tested. So throwing random supplements at a hair loss situation or hair growth desire, it's not treatment. It's not a hair loss treatment or a hair growth management regime. It is guesswork. You are merely guessing what you think you might need. So get tested and draw it down to what it is that you need to supplement for. The next thing that I want to talk about is carbohydrates. Hair follicles require energy. And where do we get our energy source from? We also get it from carbohydrates. Extremely low carbohydrate diets can increase physiological stress onto your body. Stress can push the hair follicles into telogen stage. So we've got the anagen stage, the catagen stage, and the telogen stage. The telogen stage is the shedding stage. So if your body is stressed because you have given it less carbs than it needs, it will be pushed into the shedding phase, which you don't really want if you're trying to grow long hair. If you're trying to stop hair loss, but you are chronically under eating carbohydrates, you may be triggering a stress response in your body. But when I speak of carbohydrates, I'm not talking about just any old processed carbohydrates. I'm talking about the stable carbohydrates that help with hair growth, such as whole grains, oats, brown rice, sweet potatoes. These stable carbohydrates stabilize your blood sugar, which supports stable hormones. Stable hormones support hair growth, and hair loss is often a stress signal. If you join the dots, you can paint a picture. So now that we've spoken about carbohydrates and how the lack of energy in carbohydrates can create a stress response, I want to go on to talk about antioxidants and the scalp health. We're moving on now. We're coming towards the scalp. Now, throughout your entire body, oxidative stress damages your tissues. This is systemic. This is not just the hair follicle. So in itself, oxidative stress can cause you to have damaged tissues. And when we're talking about this in relation to the scalp health, I also want you to think about it in terms of the overall skin health. Scalp health is skin health because your scalp is an extension of your skin. And so the antioxidant-rich foods that are great for healthy hair are the really colourful berries, vegetables, green tea. If you make sure that your plant intake is diverse, then you're really hitting those antioxidative points there. When you're stressed and you've got poor diet and you smoke, your body's experiencing an inflammatory response. That is when the free radicals in your body run wild and increases the stress levels in your body, including your hair follicles and your scalp. So protecting your scalp environment will support long-term hair growth. So the hard truth of this all is that if you are experiencing hair that is slow growing, it's rarely because you have not bought the right oil. It is often protein insufficiencies, iron depletion, hormonal imbalance, caloric restrictions, chronic stress, underlying medical pathology. Your hair is a biomarker for your overall health. Your hair reflects your internal function. Whatever's happening to you internally, your hair tells us the story. Especially if we can't find the damage either physically or chemically. If we can't tell that this is from you just malmanaging your hair, then we know that it has to be systemic. If we can't tell that it's chemically induced or trauma caused chemically, then we have to look at systemic issues. And that is the part that people do not like to hear. Because this means for them that they have to be consistent, they have to balance their meals, they have to have blood tests, and they have to be patient. And most of the time, this is a lot of work for people, but it's the only way that we can get this done. Hair growth is slow biology. It's not instant. Anybody who markets anything to you as instant hair growth, I would take a second look at that if I were you. I had a patient who wanted waist length hair, but she was using all the hair growth serums available on the market. But she was skipping breakfast, eating small meals, running 5 times a week. We changed nothing topically. We just increased her protein, corrected her ferritin levels, and stabilized her calories. 6 months later, her density improved. Now, she did not have waist-length hair in 6 months, but her density improved. She can tell that the 6 months of growth was showing that her hair was thickening up. Now, this was not magic. This was simply because her hair follicles finally had what they needed. Now, if you're serious about hair growth and you want to stop hair loss and you want long, healthy, thick hair, ask yourself this question. Are you feeding your hair follicles? Because real hair growth tips starts with physiology. And physiology starts with food.